Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Alchemic coming at you today with the video I said I was going to do where we go over some of the decks I think that will be pretty good in the upcoming format in terms of standard. Now, by all means, I have no idea what the meta is. I know because I actually do play some of the meta decks. However, I don't know exactly what's going to happen because obviously, just like Yu-Gi-Oh sets, it's unpredictable, so we're just going to go ahead and guess. So starting off with Druid, the main good decks in Druid tend to be a combo-based, or not combo-based necessarily, it's a very quick, fast mid-range Druid based on manipulating mana. So yeah, I'm going to go just kind of quickly describe all of them. But anyway, the best deck in Druid tends to be one that focuses on using, cards like Innervate and Wild Growth, as well as the new added Darnassus Aspirant, who's been around here for a while, who can increase your mana ramp and then be able to, play a little bit of cheating the mana system. And by doing this, you're able to sort of play a bunch of mid-range, ginormous creatures that are really good, really efficient on their own. And then in the end game, you kind of go Force of Nature into Savage Roar, and then you kind of just burst them down easily right there. So the reason why this is actually one of the highly favored decks, at least I believe, is actually because their entire combo is all classic as well as basic cards. So this is classic and the other is basic. In fact, main cards like Keeper of the Grove, Druid of the Claw, all the staples like Ancient of Lore to help draw power, Ancient of War set up some taunts. These are all pretty much classic cards. And Innervate is a basic card, Wild Growth is a basic card, Darnassus isn't going away for a little while, so Wrath is a normal card, right? So Druids aren't actually losing too much, so I'm actually going to show you off the list that I'm playing at the current moment. The only thing you're missing is the Pilot Shredder mid-game, Shade of Naxxramas, which you can easily just exchange for, they're just good 3-drops. This is going to be here for a while. I was going to think Harvest Golem, but nah, Harvest Golem is actually going. This is also a very good card, very efficient Druid of the Flame, played in the more stable Ramp Druid, what it's called. This is, in fact, actually the combos Druid. So like I said, we're losing Dr. Boom, we're losing Lotheb, we're losing Piloted Shredder, and those are really flexible choices. Lotheb can easily be exchanged for something like Harrison Jones, the Black Knight to get rid of taunts in the format. There are just plenty of really good choices, and Druid being a really good class because it's very flexible, and you're able to your choices are not very limited. So you can actually play this deck quite well. And very efficiently. So you have your 3-cost Shredder, so it's like very good. So Druid is a very favorable choice in this case. Now Hunter, right now the two builds of Hunter right now are usually Face Hunter as well as the mid-range Hunter, with occasional Beast Hunter, other kinds of stuff. Hunter will be decent. However, Hunter's performance isn't very good. It does have a lot of smork power. So Face Hunter is definitely a choice because a lot of cards, a lot of your 1-drops, they're all a classic set. Glyvzuka being a the GVG kind of sucks. You're losing Explosive Trap, you're losing Haunted Creeper, and Mad Scientist. So you're actually losing quite a number of cards, which kind of sucks. But you can also replace it with just extra damage cards. Additional things. Bear Trap has actually been seen in a couple of decks, being that Bear Trap has been seen as more Face Hunter, because there are 2-mana 3/3s with taunt, so you can do that, and there's additional smork power that can come from the neutral cards themselves. So Face Hunter is a viable option. The more stable option, however, is in fact the mid-range Hunter, which I don't have built currently, but mid-range Hunter does have all of your normal cards, Eaglehorn Bow, Animal Companion, all these are basic cards, right? Unleash the Hounds, you also, Explosive Trap is staying, Freezing Trap is staying, Flare is staying to control secret decks, and then Hunter's Mark is in fact staying. The only thing you're actually losing as a mid-range hunter is something like Web Spinner, which is primarily your one-drop, easily replaced by something like Argent Squire, is a reasonable replacement. Other beast, choices there. You can also play Stonetusk Boar if you really want the beast synergy. Savannah Highmane, one of their boss monsters, is also going, or boss minions. However, the mid-range hunter will be only losing Lothab, which a lot of decks, in fact, will be losing Sludge Belcher, cards like that. And I believe, and then of course, every deck is in fact losing Dr. Boom, which quite sucks. But that's just kind of how it goes, and we have to flow with this kind of format. But Hunter is decent. Face Hunter will remain in the meta for a little bit. You're losing a little bit your board stability, like I said, Haunted Creeper, but there are other cards like Argent Horse Rider that makes it really hard to remove some minions, or efficient removal yourself, or you can just Smorg, obviously, because that's what Hunters do best. Moving on to the Mage. Mage is in fact quite good, because for the next format, I actually don't currently have this card, but the main forms of Mage include the very, ever so annoying, to me at least, Flamewaker Tempo Mage. Now, I don't have this card right now, I will have it later soon though. But Flamewaker is in fact a very annoying Tempo Mage card. A lot of your cheap spells are in fact staying, because we have Arcane Missiles, which is a basic card. Mana Worm is your primary one-drop, usually Mirror Image, protect that Mana Worm, protect those Sorcerer's Apprentices, which are also staying. Frostbolt, one of the best cards. Sadly, we're losing cards like Unstable Portal, which have brought many confusions and randomness to the game. Unstable Portal with Lord Jaraxxus, bam, your opponent just wasted their Harrison, they feel sad. Flame Cannon is also going. This is actually used to remove, it's taking its primary use out of the game, which it happens to be Shade of Naxxramas, because taking that out of stealth is actually one of its main uses. So, Fireball, one of the best damage quick spells, is also going with Mage. So Tempo Mage is quite a viable choice. Your Fireball machine is going. We don't really care about the Flame Leviathan, who is leaving. Tempo Mage is definitely viable. Mech Mage, sadly, will also be going, which is primarily based in a bunch of neutral mechs, usually. So we can go back to this. Cogmaster included Clockwork Gnome, say here, Annoyatron, namely Mech Warper, in fact, which is kind of what runs the whole deck and gives it its speed. We're also leaving Harvest Golem, or no, Harvest Golem is actually staying. So Harvest Golem is actually a replaceable. There are 3 drops. I was about to say Harvest Golem is actually not GVG. I actually forgot about that. Shade of Naxxramas, like I said, is leaving, so Flame Cannon will be taking that with it. Piloted Shredder, one of the most efficient 4-drops in the game, as well as Mechanical Yeti, and stuff like that. So Healbot will be losing. Will also be losing on a side note. But when I get to Warlock, I'll do that. So anyway, this is right now I have my Echo Mage, which I feel sad to leave because I really love this deck a lot. Duplicate is just a beautiful card. And of course the card that runs the deck, Echo of Medivh, as well as Molten Giant. So I think this deck it was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun with it. However, I did not actually do one thing I did not do is describe this deck, which, if you guys know, is one of the other most efficient mage decks in the game, is called Freeze Mage. So let's just explain how Freeze Mage works, right? You just stall out the entire game, and then you burst your opponent down with like 1,000,000 damage. And this is pretty much all your damage right here. So you play a bunch of AoE clears, you play Pyroblast, and I'm not going to build the entire deck. But, well, actually I could if I... The only card this will be missing is actually a Mad Scientist. You have Loot Horrors, you can draw more cards, like, why not? You're also playing stuff like Acolyte of Pain, right? So it's actually quite good. You are losing your heal bot, which was your primary source of heal. However, you do play 3-mana heal bots in the form of Ice Barrier. You still have your Thaurissan to reduce all your spells. You still have Alexstrasza to go face. Alexstrasza will be staying, which is actually one of the reasons why I believe that Freeze Mage will be here for a while. Because of it was still able to function even without Thaurissan. you still had this really just this engine, and that's all you've really needed. Other builds actually opt to run Reno Jackson as a heal, so this may takes a little bit of favor once Mage gets really good, or needs the extra heal, needs the extra time, as it is for Freeze Mage, because Freeze Mage, the battle is all about time, and once you lose time, you lose the game. Anyway, moving on to Paladin. Currently, two very strong forms of Paladin include the Secret Paladin, as well as mid-range Paladin, aggro Paladin, etc. So there's just many different builds of the Paladin, and currently, obviously, the renowned Secret Paladin will not be losing any of its secrets, because there are no GVG secrets. However, you're losing cards, really efficient early game cards, like Shielded Minibot, the Coghammer, Muster for Battle, so all those cards are going. Divine Favor is staying. Blessing of Kings, so your 4-drops are still relatively solid. You know, you have True Silver Champion, you have Blessing of Kings, you have Equality, so Equality Consecrate will still be a full board clear. We're losing Avenge, actually. So while there are no GVG secrets, Avenge is in fact going, which kind of sucks because Avenge actually has been the 1-mana 3/2 to a minion, which is just insane for everything. Keeper of Oldamon is going to be seen probably more play. The Secret Paladin will be playing the 2 Consecration. Hammer of Wrath may even be considered, but probably not. Tyrion Fordring, one of the most efficient legendaries in the game, is staying, as well as the Lay on Hands played in mid-range Paladin. So Tyrion Fordring being in the game keeps the Paladin decks alive as their Doctor 8, and shall remain Doctor 8 for a very long time until Blizzard attempts to nerf it. So mid-range Paladin pretty much has a very similar plan to Secret Paladin, other than they're not playing Mysterious Challenger and you're just looking to outvalue your opponent pretty much. The Quartermaster will be going, so with its Muster for Battle, what is it? Side helper? I don't know. Like its partner, basically, is what I mean. But mid-range Paladin will sadly not be, doesn't look like to be anything too good. You may see some sort of Justice come into play. Argent Lance, maybe some early removal. You might see an Argent Protector or two. There are just, yeah, so it's just Blessing of Wisdom is still really bad. A lot of these cards are also really bad, and so mid-range Paladin isn't looking that good. But Secret Paladin, you're gonna need to find some new early game board, and if you're really relying on the neutral cards to do so, it's not gonna be very good for you. So that's it for Paladin, I believe. Aggro Paladin is actually still fine because, you know, you got Divine Favor. You just can't spawn as many 1/1s as you can. All you have to do to spawn the 1/1s are your hero power, which is gonna have to be the abused effect. Anyway, moving on to Priest. We have a lot of cards are in fact good for Priest. Sadly, we're pretty much the only effective card that we're losing is in fact Dark Cultist. Valen's Chosen sadly is going. So I don't even know. But like these two are pretty much the primary losses for it. Shrinkmeister is actually going. So the only thing I believe Cabal is actually neutral, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's neutral. So Cabal Shadow Priest. You're not going to be able to steal any more Yseras, unless you know, I don't even know how you do that. But anyway, so I don't have a Priest deck currently built. However, the very good Priest decks are Control Priest, as well as the other one is Dragon Priest. Those are usually the two. The Control Priest is actually usually rated higher than Control Priest. Just to throw something out there. Anyway, Northshire Cleric is not going. The best draw engine in the game, unarguably, especially because it synergizes with your hero power. Whereas, you know, cards that are usually competitive with, in terms of draw, is Divine Favor. In Warrior, you also have Battle Rage, right? So you can draw way more cards. But Northshire Cleric undoubtedly is the best draw engine. So Northshire Cleric usually is partnered up with its buddy Wild Pyromancer to deal with damage to everything, and then you go ahead and use the most overpowered spell in the game, It's called a Circle of Healing, which functions as multi-use to just draw a million cards. So Northstar Cleric, Power Word Shield, those two core cards will be remaining in the game. Your single target removal in the form of Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death will be still there. So you can still kind of control the game as the Priest has always been its nature. Alkanai Soul Priest is remaining, so you can always do those Circle of Death. Holy Nova is still good. Light Bomb is sadly going, so you won't have as much to fear from the Priest. In addition, all of the Dragon cards that are neutral, let's just go there. I actually don't have them. So Blackwing Technician, you know, no one plays this. Blackwing Corruptor, etc. You know, cards like this. Nefarian, you're still here. Dragonkin Sorcerer to just take a bunch of buffs. Those cards are all still here. Twilight Whelp, they're all still here. So the only thing you actually be losing as a control priest, or just a priest in general, in fact, will be Deathlord, which is the 2/8 taunt that just controls the board, and against aggro decks, you're just so amazing. Priest will sadly only be losing those cards. However, I still think Priest is a very viable option compared to Druid, Mage, and Paladin. Hunter has just been suboptimal. Paladin is kind of in the tier 1.5, but I definitely think Druid currently... Druid, Mage, and Priest are all very good options for this game. Paladin being a tier 1.5, and Hunter being either tier 2 or even tier 3. Meanwhile, we come to Rogue. Rogue is a class that uses weapons, and it's actually a very good class, and very efficient with lots of removal, and good enough for all the Rogue players. Your removal is not going anywhere. Deadly Poison is a basic card. Eviscerate is classic. Blade Flurry is also classic. Sap is your silence, which will also be staying. SI7 Agent ain't going anywhere. Phantom Knives to deal with those muster for battles, no longer anymore. You do not have to deal with muster for battle. Edwin Van Cleef, the 2020 that you can play in one turn, you're not going anywhere. It seems that Rogue, the only card that Rogue is losing is Tinker's Sharpsword Oil, which has made the ever popular Oil Rogue, which kind of takes the Miracle Rogue sort of standpoint to kill off the opponent. Backstab is not going anywhere. That keeps you're there. You can always still prep Sprint, draw 4 cards for 2, or for 4 mana. You're drawing 2. Sprint is still here. Bad cards are still here anyway. Mill Rogue. So let's do. I think the 3 decks for Rogue are probably Oil Rogue, which I said was losing oil. Mill Rogue, I don't think it's losing anything. In fact, other than Deathlord, if you play Deathlord. Vanish is still there. Destroy all minions on the board. Hey, that's pretty... last time I checked, that was pretty good. And then Mally Rogue, which is actually quite an interesting thing. So Mally Miracle is a... So they're kind of 2 sub-decks, but they kind of have the same idea, where you kind of just stall the game, and then you play Malagos, and then you play, like, you play something dumb like Sinister Strike for 8, and you do that a million times or something like that. Miracle Rogue, on the other hand, utilizes a card called, or no, where'd it go? Gadgetzan Auctioneer. So you just draw a million cards, and you deal a million damage, and you try and build ginormous things. Miracle Rogue has already seen a replay in the meta. However, I don't think Miracle Rogue is very consistent, because you draw way too many cards, and sometimes your opponent can screw your things up by, you know, Flame Strike just kills the Jouster, or not the Jouster, the Gadgetzan Auctioneer. So a lot of times you're feeling kind of sad. In Rogue, you know, all you're losing from neutral is, I mean, from your class is a Nubar, Ambusher, Oil, like I said, and it's not. So Rogue is a very efficient class to play. Shadow Step is a classic, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, Rogue is definitely a decent class to play. I would put it in a tier 1.5, 1 actually, so in between 1.5 and 1. But yeah, Rogue is definitely a really efficient class to play. Shaman! Here we come, Shaman. Actually, I actually did forget to go into the Oil Rogue deck and show you guys what the deck was. So this just actually helped. So you know, your deck hand, your charge is still there. BGH to remove those big targets that are really scary. Violet Teacher to spawn 1/1s are still there. Lotheb, obviously, are really sad to go. Lotheb has been played in just so many decks, and that's what it's good for. Azure Drake, one of the primary 5/5s that was played before Naxxramas, will be staying. So the spell damage is very useful for the Rogue, especially. So yeah, you got your Thalnos, just like the Freeze Mage. I actually forgot to mention Thalnos isn't going anywhere. So your damage is going to be very efficient. So now we can move on to Shaman, where the prevalent deck is pretty much Face Shaman as well as mid-range Battlecry and mid-range non-Battlecry, I guess you can say. Aggro Shaman isn't really losing too much because most of their damage is in fact from the classic set, and you know, I guess you're losing Crackle, which is kind of the RNG one. I think Shaman, the Shaman next card is Reincarnate, which it has not seen any play at all. Doomhammer is remaining, so I believe Face Shaman's still pretty relevant. Crackle is going to give it less chances, but maybe something like Flametongue Totem, we'll see some play, and then maybe, you know, stuff like that. To sort of, you know, you can play the Flametongue Totem in between the wolves, very efficient. But I don't think Shaman's losing much else because they're playing similar 1-drops to the Face Hunter deck. Totem Golem is still here. Feral Spirit, your wolves are still here. Lava Burst is still here. All these are still here. This is a basic card. This is a classic card. So they're not going anywhere. And Face Shaman's still pretty efficient. They're losing a little bit consistency with the Crackle, but usually the Face Shaman playing cards that are usually just value on their own. You know, Abusive Sergeant is probably the only card. Rockbiter, Doomhammer being the others. Everything else pretty much has value on their own, and they're usually either a threat or can deal quite a bit of damage. As for mid-range Shaman, let's go with the Battlecry one first. All your Battlecry stuff is still here because it was in the most recent set LoE. So, you know, Rebelling Elemental is still here, Fire Elemental, and then a card I actually don't have, it's Fire Guard Destroyer, which will pretty much be, it says Battlecry become a BGH target, is basically what it means. When you put compared with the core card in the mid-range Battlecry deck, which in fact happens to be Brand Bronzebeard himself. Whoops, Brand Bronzebeard himself. So this kind of just speeds up the deck a ton. As for the aggressive Shaman, or the mid-range Shaman, the Battlecries. So you got plenty of Battlecries. You can easily replace. I don't play the deck, so I don't know. Tuskar Totemic isn't going anywhere. It's just an insane card. Fire Elemental, Battlecry deals 6 damage. Wow, just OP. Very good. You know, Bloodlust is not very good. Anyway, the normal mid-range Shaman probably plays very similar. Like I said, Tuskar Totemic's not going anywhere. Let's just see what else there is. Dust Devil is really bad. No one plays Dust Devil, so we'll see. Whirling Zap-O-Matic, however, was usually a threat during tournament competitive scenes. Sometimes this and Knife Juggler used to be the exchange. This is usually seen in tournament play, whereas Knife Juggler is seen on ladder. Yeah, your healing wave isn't going anywhere. For all those who like the Malygos Shaman, that will actually not be going anywhere either. A lot of these cards with very big overloads aren't very good. The only, I guess, is Napulton, but no, Napulton is usually, there are just too many Murlocs. It's just like, yeah, it's not very efficient. Alakir used to be the primary finisher. We play Alakir, you play Rockbiter, and you finish for 9 mana, you get 12 damage in. That's pretty much it, I think, for the Shaman. I think, are there any totems? Let's see. I don't actually know. Totem that are GVG though. These are all, oh, Vitality Totem, I guess you can't get that out of Shredder to win. That sucks. Okay. So that's pretty much it for Shaman. Shaman looks like a decent class. It's just losing Crackle, essentially. So it's still quite strong, but it's not going to be as consistent as it was. So I put it in about a tier 1 or tier 1.5 position, similar to Rogue. Although the thing is, Rogue is actually at a lower position than Shaman, because Shaman's losing a less core card. Rogue, an entire deck was literally based around it. So currently we have a lot of different builds for Warlock. Warlock is Zoo. Zoo is number 1. So I'm going to talk about Zoo first. Zoo is very good, very board efficient deck. The really sad thing is that you're losing Void Caller, which means you're not going to be able to get Mal'Ganis during your opponent's turn. That's going to really suck. You're also losing Implosion, which I have 2 golden ones. I feel really sad for that. But yeah, Implosion being one of the this card just combos so well with Knife Juggler. Card load, like your sticky 3-drop in Gang Boss is staying, Voidwalker, the 1/3 taunt is staying, Flame Imp, your pretty much your primary 1-drop, Power Overwhelming is still here. So your Zoo, you can still control this stuff. Dark Peddler, Discover, this actually now discovers more a little bit better things. Now that GVG and Nax are going to be rotated out. Fume Guard, your charge minion is still here. And then of course Mal'Ganis. Like I said, no more Mal'Ganis. You won't be getting Mal'Ganis out on the board anymore. Jiraxis, in fact, even though it's a slower one, it could be considered in some Zoo lists. Let's see what else. Like I said, the next card kind of sucks for this set. Blood Imp is no, that's a classic card. I'm not sure. So Zoo looks all right, but the thing is, you're losing a little bit of board control after Implosion goes, because Implosion was just a rolling the dice. If you either get 2 Snake Eyes or you get 2 6s. So that's pretty much what happened. As for Reno Lock, you're losing Dark Bomb. You're losing a lot of kind of just your choices. Like I said, you're losing Implosion, Kizan Mystic, I guess, if you play that. Void Caller, a very important one. Healbot, though. So I remember I was going to go back to Healbot when Warlock comes up. So when we think Warlock, right, back in let's say the Grim Patron days, the only deck that Warlock pretty much played was the Handlock to control the Grim Patrons, and was just so good against Grim Patron. And without the Healbot, a lot of things have changed. So we may actually see more heal cards. Let me actually look. I'm not actually sure. The only heal you really have is something like Siphon Soul, Sacrificial Pact, so maybe like Dreadsteed would see a little bit more play. I think they already play some Farseers. You might have to go double up on those. Tournament Medic may be considered, but honestly, like, no. But Reno Jackson, obviously the Reno Lock is very flexible to this, so they can. I don't actually have some certain cards, so. But you're losing Belcher. It's okay. The thing is, Reno Lock is similar to the Druid. Is very flexible. You have a lot of options. So you can exchange for a more aggressive build potentially by playing like Power Overwhelming in the early game. For early game cards, you can play I think it was Reno Zoo that I think I saw someone playing. Was also very good. You're losing Dark Bomb, kind of your efficient 2 mana deal 3 damage, which kind of sucks. But you're still very flexible, and Warlock is still a very good class to choose for the upcoming format. Finally, we have Warrior. Warrior, oh Warrior. The only class, so for Warrior, we're actually losing. We're losing. The 2 decks primarily are Grim Patron Warrior, Control Warrior. There are also a couple variants of that. The one card that literally runs the decks are probably Death's Bite. This card literally it's just a staple at 2. There's no way Warriors are going to be good anymore after this. Arcanite Meeper may see some play. Let's see what else. What else is potential in this? So you're getting you still have Fiery Wind Axe, right? As for your early game, Cursed Blade may no, that's not. Let's not go there. Shield Slam, what a crazy card. I don't understand why this is working. But Shield Slam, deal 1 damage for each armor you have. Still crazy good. Whirlwind to open your Grim Patrons. Grim Patrons might see a little less play because you're going to be you're potentially needing way more activators. Commanding Shout, potentially. 2S Master is definitely going to be hit up to 2 in terms of Grim Patrons. Frothing Berserker. So in terms of that, we might see a little more of the. You're not gonna be able to have to sit on the second charge of the Death Bite when you wait for Grom to come back out. That's the only thing. Iron Juggernaut is getting lost, which means Bran plus Iron Juggernaut plus what's it called? Youthful Brewmaster. That's not gonna happen. Just stop thinking about that. You still have, you actually lose Shield Maiden, which was kind of one of your primary armor gain cards from Control Warrior. So I think Patron Warrior is a decent, like, don't really try it. Maybe some experiments. We'll see some like Frothing Berserker charge or Raging Worgen potentially to have, you know, a Wind Fury. But you're not losing your finisher in Hellscream or Gramash, because the Warriors really do need that speed at the end, the burst to win the game. Revenge may be considered in terms of the Patron Warrior. As for the Control Warrior, however, you still, like I said, you still have all your efficient removal. Both executes and both shield slams are still here. You know, Fire Wind Axe, like I said, is your early game. Armor Smith is still here. Slam as some card draw. Taskmaster hit off, finish off this stuff. Just really with BGH shenanigans are just insane. Bash is still here. Bash is just a really good card for you. Like I said, the only weakness of Warrior is losing Death Spite. Now I actually don't know where to place it on my tier list for now. I think it's going to be around tier 1.5 or tier 2. Like I think other classes are going to be doing way better. Obviously this can change because I don't know what's going to happen. Brawl is still your AoE sort of thing. Still really good. And maybe perhaps Varian Rin may see some play. Now let's go into neutral cards. Now I actually have a different discussion for this. Neutral cards are just insane because they can be played in any deck. So let's actually just go over some of just the things that people are excited for, or people think that that will be a little bit better potentially. I don't know. So we're losing cards like Blingtron, you know, stuff like all the GVG stuff, which kind of sucks. You know, Mimiron's head, I believe, right? Mimiron's head is a mech, yeah. So it has to be. Mimiron's head is being lost. Hemmet Nesting Larry. You know, a lot of cards that people didn't actually care about, and you're now starting to see a little bit of regret for that because now that all these cards are not usable anymore, this card is not relevant to that. You're losing all the Nax legendaries. So let's go over the Nax legendaries again. They're going to be Baron Rivendare, which means no more of the zombie chow shenanigans. Fugen Stalag, so Reno Lock. Actually, Reno Locks actually do play that. But usually, like, Reno Lock really doesn't care. My Exna is really bad. KT is gonna see a little bit of play. Is gonna be really sad because it's gone, like I said. So that's it for the Nax legendaries. Lotheb. As for GVG, of course, we're losing Dr. Boom, the one legendary that everyone can think of right on the spot. Let's actually look at GVG legendaries. I actually do not know too many because, like I said, the only one I have is Dr. Boom. So Sneeds is sadly going to be gone, which is like I feel like so I'll say this at the end of the video, but I feel like Sneeds could have, you know, definitely had some more potential to be played and stuff. A lot of the GVG legendaries are pretty good. Vol'jin was actually mentioned. I should have mentioned. Vol'jin is actually quite good. Very good legendary, actually. Maloran didn't see any play as a 9/7. That just recycles itself. Gazria, you can see a bunch of OTKs with that. But otherwise, the only thing people really care about is losing Dr. Boom. And remember, guys, you can always keep your legendaries because you can play them wild. So even though you're not playing in a tournament format, you still should be fine. Anyway, let's actually go back to so this is actually all the cards that we're losing from GVG, which pretty much means Mech Mage is dead. Healbot is just gonna wreck all the Warlocks unless you're playing an aggressive Warlock. Intenso Mechano has actually seen them play in Zoo, so you're losing that. No more Where's Your Bomb Lobber now, unless you're playing Arena, then obviously it's it's the other way. It actually does work in that case. You know, Mountain Giant's not very good. So yeah, let's go to next cards. I actually do have all of Nax. I think the top cards that I really feel sad to lose is Sludge Belcher, Lotheb, Deathlord, Shade, and then pretty much Mad Scientist, Zombie Chow, and Haunted Creeper. All the other cards we don't really care about. I guess Unstable Ghoul was an activator for the Grim Patron Warriors and Nerubian Egg, but I don't really care about too much about those in my opinion, because I never really played some of those cards. In addition, I've also seen some Silence Druids where you're playing Wailing Soul to silence everything. And then you just, you know, summon just giant things that have a what's it called, a take back or no, not a take back, a drawback, and then you just negate those. So, you know, like I said, we're going back in these next cards. Deathbite is getting out, Void Caller, those cards. Dark Cultist is a really good card, Avenge is insane. Duplicate, I feel really sad because I really like Duplicate. Web Spinner, as well as Poison Seeds. So the only ones that really matter are Web Spinner, Duplicate, Avenge, Dark Cultist, Void Caller, and Deathbite. So all those cards we're losing, and it feels really sucks to lose it. However, obviously, like I said, you don't have to get rid of them. There's always Wild, where you can do anything is possible. So, that is my really long review. Oh my god, we're at 35 minutes. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I'm sorry I had to sit through that, but it's definitely a thing I have a lot of opinions about. So that's going to be it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.